Hello, I'm Matthew, and today I'm going to be doing a review of the Pecron E600 LFP power station. I've had this thing for several weeks, really put it through the tests, and I can tell you, spoiler alert, it is a beast. Given the price of this unit, the features it has on it, and the power that it has available, I can say this is definitely the best bang for your buck. It is very well performing and very reasonably priced. And before I get started with this video, I just want to let you know that there will be two videos from me on two different channels about this power station. This video is going to be about how I use the power station for car camping, van life, and home preparedness. And on my other channel, Wide Vision Metal Fab, that video will be about how I like to take this power station on site and run my power tools when I'm doing jobs for customers. I'll put a link to that video in the description below, and also have one of those doobly-doos at the end of this video. Why should you even listen to my opinion on something like this power station? Well, for starters, I grew up in the plains of western Kansas, a place where storms roll through and there's frequent power outages. So I'm very familiar with looking for alternative forms of electricity when the grid goes down. And now that I'm older and have a family, we like taking trips in our van to escape into a national forest for days on end. So we have played with various alternate power sources that will keep us from draining the battery on our van when we are far, far off grid. And the first thing I want to mention is that it has a lithium iron phosphate battery in this. This gives you a lot more cycles than just a regular lithium battery. At 3,500 cycles, this battery is still going to be above 80% of its new capacity. So you could use it every day for 10 years and barely notice a difference in its cycle. And most likely you're not going to be draining it clear down and charging it clear back up full every day. So this thing ought to last for years and years. And I will tell you straight up, having the lithium iron battery in here is one of the reasons I agreed to doing a review to this, because the majority of power stations out there only use lithium, not the lithium iron, and that means they're going to have a lot shorter lifespan. The Pecron power station is great for van lifing and car camping and those kind of situations, as well as home preparedness. The 1200 watt pure sine wave inverter is really nice. It can power a lot of things. I'm not quite sure which subject to talk about first as far as what is most useful about this power station. But there's something that I use both in van life and can be really handy at home during power outages, and that is running an electric blanket with this thing. To give you an idea of how long an electric blanket will run on this power station, we decided to go do an all-nighter on a fairly cold weekend. There you can see the power station is up there, and we have it plugged into an electric blanket here. So I just turned on the electric blanket. It's claiming 111 watts and just under 6 hours. So it's 5 hours. 5 to 6 hours of run time. It will run much longer than that because the electric blanket will actually kick on and off as it goes through the night. It does not run 100% of the time. Get some blankets on here, and the electric blanket actually runs a lot less. It is currently 25 degrees out. It's supposed to get down to 17 tonight, so it's going to be a little bit chilly, but this electric blanket will more than keep us warm in here.
Yep.
Ah, sorry. My bad.
About that.
There. Now we can see each other. Are you warm under the blankie?
I'm so warm.
It's darn right hot under here, isn't it?
It is very hot out here. In here. Under here. Whatever.
Okay.
It is quite toasty under the blankets.
Yes.
Yes. It is nice not having a cold sleeping bag to crawl into, though.
That was very nice.
It was.
We turned on the electric blanket before we got in the sleeping bag, and it was very warm under the sleeping bag, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Warm and snuggly.
Yep.
Like your wife.
Yeah. All right. See you in the morning.
Good night.
Well, I don't know if it shows up on camera very well because fog never does, but it is foggy, foggy, foggy this morning. There's a lake down there. The electric blanket test kind of didn't go so well because, well, we went to bed and it was 29 and it was supposed to drop down to 17. I think I have those numbers wrong. Doesn't sound right. I took a screenshot, so I'll put the little thing of the screenshot right here. And I thought it was going to be super cold this morning when we got up too. But it is now like 48 degrees and it's supposed to get up to 71 today. So apparently we had a warm front come through during the night, which is causing all this fog. And yeah, at 48, we are definitely way too warm to use the electric blanket. So we only used it for about 6 hours. Looks like it discharged the power station to about, what, 46%, something like that. Can't remember all these numbers off the top of my head. But anyway, it easily ran the blanket for 6 hours. So that I can attest to, and there's quite a bit of battery left here in the power station. But yeah, didn't know we were going to have a warm front roll through in the night. But isn't this gorgeous out here? Ah, what a lovely place to be. Probably one of the most useful things for a power station around the house during a power outage is to run a lamp so you can see what you're doing. We have a 10-watt LED bulb in this lamp right here. It's showing 9 watts of actual draw on the power station, and on a full charge, it's claimed that I'll have 32 hours of runtime. That means if I ran the lamp for 4 hours every evening, I could use this lamp for about 8 evenings before needing a recharge. And if you don't need as much light as this big lamp outputs, one of these little USB bulbs will run for 122 hours on a full charge. That's a lot of runtime. I guess one thing I should talk about is the cooler. I keep calling it a cooler. It's technically a refrigerator. It actually has a compressor, you know, Freon and all that stuff in it. Plugs in. One of the trips we took up to Montana, we were buying ice all the time to keep our normal cooler that you fill with ice. We were just constantly buying ice to keep that thing cold. And when we got home, we figured it up, and we think we spent probably about $120. And we probably would have spent a lot more on the ice, but we spent like 4 or 5 days just in the national forest there. So there was no place to go get ice, but we needed ice during that time really bad because, you know, we were out in the forest and trying to keep our food cool. And so when we got back from that trip, I started looking into these electric coolers just to see what the cost was, and it's $300 for this cooler. And we said that's kind of a no-brainer because that's literally 2 trips, and we have paid for it in what we save in ice. And we use this cooler all the time. We use it on weekend trips now. And using the power station to power the cooler means that we can just leave the cooler plugged in, and we don't have to worry about draining the battery down to nothing on the van and not being able to start in the morning. And this E600 with 614 watt hours of battery will run this cooler while the compressor is actually running for about 20 hours. It says 19.6 right now on the display. But of course, fridges kick in and out all the time. So once it's down to temperature, it doesn't turn back on for quite a while. So as long as it's not 110 degrees outside, this power station would actually run this mini fridge for days. And I recharge the power station while we're driving down the road via the 12-volt cable that comes with this power station. This is plugged into a 12-volt power port in our van that only comes on when the key is on. That way when we get somewhere, I don't have to worry about the cooler draining the engine battery down. I know it's just pulling completely off of the power station when the key is off of the vehicle. And speaking of recharging, Pecron includes this 12-volt to barrel plug adapter. Plugs right in here to the 5.5 by 2.1 millimeter barrel plug, and then you can plug that into a 12-volt port on your vehicle, and this will allow up to 100 watts of charging. And included in this nice carrying case also is a power supply that you can plug into a wall outlet and charges through this GX16MF multi-pin port, and this allows for up to 400 watts of charging. And when you're off-grid and want to recharge via solar, they also include an MC4 to the GX16MF multi-pin port, which also allows for 400 watts of solar charging. And I have to say, it's very nice that Pecron includes different methods for you to recharge your power station, because I have bought other power stations in the past that did not come with the proper chargers, and that's really annoying trying to figure out which one you need. With a 1200 watt pure sine wave inverter, USB output ports, 12 volt ports, and wireless charging, I'm sure you're going to find lots of uses for this power station. And if this E600 isn't big enough for you, Pecron offers a couple other power stations, so go check out their website. And speaking of the Pecron website, if you want to order this E600 specifically, check the description below, as I will put a discount code down there and a link for you to follow. And on my other channel, Wide Vision Metal Fab, I'm going to have a video up about how useful this power station is for when I go on site, running power tools and stuff like that. So go check out that video right here too.